You wake up to the sound of water. Not rain, not a river. Something deeper, something wrong. You check your phone. It is 6:42 in the morning. The news alerts are coming in so fast the screen won't stop lighting up. You read the first one, then the second. Then you stop reading and just stare at the ceiling. Every glacier on Earth melted last night. Every ice sheet, every frozen mountain, every polar cap, gone, all of it. In 8 hours. You have no idea yet what that means, but you are about to find out. Let's talk about the numbers first, because the numbers are the only way to understand what is coming for your coastline, your city, and your life. Earth currently holds approximately 26.5 million cubic kilometers of ice. That figure comes from the National Snow and Ice Data Center, which has been tracking the planet's cryosphere, its frozen water systems, for decades. The Antarctic ice sheet alone holds about 26.5 million cubic kilometers of the total, making it by far the largest reservoir of frozen freshwater on the planet. Greenland holds another 2.85 million. Mountain glaciers, ice caps, and sea ice account for the rest. If all of it melted, the global sea level would rise by approximately 65 to 70 meters. Some models, including those published by researchers at the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, put the figure closer to 70 meters when accounting for thermal expansion of warming ocean water on top of the meltwater volume itself. 70 meters. Let that land. The Statue of Liberty is 93 meters tall from base to torch. The water would reach her chest. The Sydney Opera House would be completely submerged. Big Ben would disappear. The entire city of London, gone. Amsterdam, Bangkok, Mumbai, Shanghai, Miami, New Orleans, Dhaka, all of them underwater before the end of the first week. But you are not in the first week yet. You are in the first hour. And the first hour is chaos. The melt happened overnight, which means the water has been moving since midnight. Rivers that normally carry glacial meltwater gradually are now flash floods of biblical scale. The Amazon River, already the largest river system on Earth by discharge volume, is receiving freshwater from Andean glaciers at a rate that hydrologist Bryan of Ohio State University's Bird Polar and Climate Research Center has described in related modeling as potentially thousands of times its normal flow during rapid glacial loss events. The river bursts its banks. The rainforest floods inland. In coastal cities, the ocean is already rising, not the gradual centimeter per year rise that climate scientists have been warning about for decades. This is a wall of water advancing inland at the rate of meters per hour. You live 50 kilometers from the coast. You feel safe. You are not thinking about what 70 meters of new ocean means for the rivers between you and the sea. You are not thinking about storm drains that can no longer drain because there is nowhere for the water to go. You are not thinking about the aquifer beneath your feet that is being infiltrated by salt water moving through the ground faster than any forecast predicted. By hour 3, the maps are already wrong. Florida does not exist. It never stood more than a few meters above sea level across most of its landmass. The entire state is gone, replaced by a shallow warm water sea dotted with the tops of highway overpasses and the upper floors of the tallest buildings. The Keys vanished first, then Miami, then Orlando, then Tallahassee, which sat at a relatively high 61 meters elevation, but 61 is not 70. The Netherlands, which has spent centuries engineering itself to exist below sea level, has lost its battle with the ocean permanently. The delta barriers hold for a few hours, then fail in sequence as water tops them, undermines them, and routes around them. Rotterdam is underwater. Amsterdam is underwater. The country of Bangladesh, home to 170 million people, is almost entirely submerged. It sat at an average elevation of less than 10 meters above sea level. Your phone is ringing. Family members from coastal areas. Some calls connect. Many do not. By hour 6, the freshwater crisis begins, and this is the part that most people do not see coming. The ice that just melted was freshwater, 26.5 million cubic kilometers of it. But it did not land gently in reservoirs where you could drink it. It rushed into the ocean. It mixed with salt water. It is gone as a drinkable resource. Gone permanently. Meanwhile, the salinity of the ocean has changed. Oceanographer Stefan Rahmstorf of the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research has published extensively on how large influxes of cold freshwater into the North Atlantic disrupt the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, the AMOC, the massive ocean conveyor belt that moves warm water from the tropics northward and keeps Western Europe 5 to 10 degrees Celsius warmer than it would otherwise be. Inject 26.5 million cubic kilometers of freshwater into that system in a single night, and the AMOC does not slow. It stops. Britain, Ireland, Norway, and Northern Europe begin to cool immediately. Not in decades. In weeks. The warming effect that has kept London's climate mild despite its northern latitude disappears overnight. Within a month, temperatures in Northern Europe begin to plunge toward conditions more typical of Newfoundland, Canada, which sits at roughly the same latitude as the UK, but without the ocean current's warmth. Europe is simultaneously flooding and freezing. By hour 12, governments that still have functioning infrastructure are issuing evacuation orders for hundreds of millions of people. But the roads leading inland are jammed. Fuel supplies are disrupted because refineries and distribution networks in coastal areas are underwater. Communication infrastructure is failing as cell towers and server farms in low-lying areas go offline. The new coastline of the world is being drawn in real time, and it is brutal. Look at what the map looks like now. North America has lost the entire eastern seaboard below roughly the Appalachian foothills. New York City is underwater. Manhattan's highest natural point is only about 60 meters above the old sea level, meaning the upper portions of the island survive as a cluster of small islands, the tops of skyscrapers poking above the waterline like strange metal reefs. Washington, D.C. is gone. Boston is gone. Houston is gone. It sat at an average of 15 meters elevation. Los Angeles largely survives. It sits at higher elevation inland, though the coastal communities from Malibu to Long Beach disappear. In Asia, the scale of human displacement is almost incomprehensible. The great river deltas, the Mekong, the Yangtze, the Ganges-Brahmaputra, are all submerged. These are regions that feed billions of people. The rice paddies of Vietnam and Thailand and Bangladesh are at the bottom of the ocean. The agricultural systems that supply food to half the planet's population are gone. Antarctica itself is transformed. For the first time in 34 million years, it is an ice-free continent. Geologist Robin Bell of Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory has studied what lies beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. What you get, stripped of its ice, is a continent of exposed rock, deep basins, and mountain ranges. Some peaks tall enough to become new islands in the surrounding ocean. Others sitting below the new sea level, creating deep new bays and inlets that have not existed since the Eocene epoch. By the end of the first day, global civilization is in its most acute crisis since the species existed. But here is what matters beyond the water level. Here is the thing that determines whether anything survives. Soil, farmland, food. The world's most productive agricultural land sits in river deltas and coastal plains. The Po Valley in Italy, gone. The Mississippi Delta, gone. The coastal plains of China, gone. The flood plains of the Nile that have fed human civilization for 7,000 years, gone. What remains above water is higher ground, and higher ground is not flat. It is not naturally fertile. It is not equipped with irrigation systems or storage infrastructure or the road networks needed to move food from where it grows to where people are. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has estimated that the world currently has approximately 60 harvests left before topsoil degradation makes conventional farming impossible, even under normal conditions. Remove the most productive land from the equation entirely, overnight, and that timeline collapses. Billions of people are displaced. Hundreds of millions are facing acute food insecurity within weeks. The global economy, which runs on supply chains that move through ports and ports that are now underwater, has effectively seized. And yet, humans have survived before when the world changed beneath their feet. Geologist Peter Clark of Oregon State University and his colleagues published research in Nature Climate Change showing that during previous interglacial periods, when ice sheets retreated dramatically, human populations adapted, migrated, and rebuilt. The process was painful. It took generations, but it happened. The Earth itself will find a new equilibrium, The added water weight on the oceanic crust will cause measurable subsidence in some regions and isostatic rebound, the slow rising of land that was previously crushed under ice weight, in others. Scandinavia, which is still rising from the last ice age at a rate of up to 1 centimeter per year, would lose that upward pressure and begin to settle. Antarctica, freed of its crushing ice load, would slowly begin to rise over thousands of years. New coastlines mean new harbors. New rivers mean new irrigation possibilities. The land exposed in Antarctica and Greenland, hundreds of thousands of square kilometers of new territory, would eventually, over centuries, develop soil and vegetation. But tonight, right now, the water is still rising. And somewhere on the new coast of what used to be your country, someone is standing on a hillside they never thought would matter, watching the ocean advance toward land that was dry this morning, and understanding for the first time what 70 meters actually looks like from the inside. We have known this water existed, locked up in ice, waiting. Glaciologists have been measuring it for 60 years. Climate scientists have been modeling its release for 40. The ice cores drilled from the heart of Antarctica by teams at the British Antarctic Survey preserve 800,000 years of atmospheric history in their frozen layers, a record of every warm period, every melt event, every time the planet tilted toward heat and the ice responded. The ice always responds. We just never imagined it would respond overnight. So the next time you see a photograph of a glacier, those vast blue-white walls of compressed ancient snow moving imperceptibly toward the sea, remember what you are actually looking at. You are looking at 70 meters of ocean that has not happened yet. You are looking at every coastline that still exists. You are looking at the thing that, if it goes, takes the maps with it. And the maps, it turns out, were the least of what we had to lose.
And that's today's hypothesis. If you enjoyed this journey into the impossible, hit subscribe and join the Stickman Hypothesis universe. See you in the next What If?